Hello friends, this is Scott, and I just got down to the homestead for a couple days. I'm here for the chicken coop build and to do a little preservation of what's remaining in the fall garden. I'll do another video to show you exactly what we still have to harvest and to hopefully eat fresh, as well as now's the time to preserve any of the excess that we have. And my preferred way to preserve is by freezing or drying. Canning is something that I've done a little bit of, but I've never really dabbled into it. I think I'll get more into that as I get more established down here. But right now, freezing is the way to go. And I don't have a big chest freezer or anything at the moment. I just have the freezer that's in my side-by-side fridge, so I can only preserve so much. I've been successful in preserving quite a bit of the harvest this year, but I'll show you that again too in another video of what I've been able to put away for the winter. But today is all about the world's best salsa recipe. And I say that because I believe it to be true. Again, it's the world's best because it can be manipulated, it can be changed, you can make it your own. But there's some techniques and some basic ingredients I'm going to show you today. Things can vary based on whether you can eat salt or not, whether you like spice, hot or mild or no spice, whether you like cilantro. A lot of people don't like cilantro, a lot of people don't like onions. You can manipulate the ingredients with this recipe, so you can make it your own. But if you kind of follow a basic recipe, and when I say recipe, it's very loose. I'm just doing kind of what I feel is how I like, kind of the basic ingredients. The quantities of the basic ingredients, and then you got to go with it from your own perspective, your own family's likes, dislikes, health issues, needs, whatever, and then you make it your own. This recipe is, you won't go wrong with this. I mean, I'm telling you, you need to try it because it is delicious. And I usually just make it fresh and put it in the fridge. And what I like about it is I usually like the salsa a lot better, in subsequent days once it's had time to settle, thicken up, be cold, and it tastes good for days and days and days. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some extra today, and I'm going to put it in baggies and freeze it. And I haven't frozen salsa yet, and I want to be able to enjoy this many times. So I'm going to try to freeze in quart containers. But for this video, I'm going to try to do just one batch, so you kind of get an idea. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much ingredients, and then you'll get confused. I'm going to show you basically what I'm going to use for one, portion or one of my servings, which lasts several days, and see what you think about this recipe. Okay, what I'm showing you today is basically all you need to make this kind of salsa. And I do not have an appropriate blender, so all I have is a NutriBullet. So I'm going to kind of do the blending maybe in a couple stages. So I brought a pot here so that I can, when I grind up the materials after I'm, got them ready to go, I'll put them in this pot. Okay. So all the ingredients are, and all you need is you need some kind of a skillet, because the main component of this salsa that makes it so good is you're going to singe some of these materials. Now, singeing just means no oil in a pan, hot pan. I prefer cast iron. And you just put the main ingredients in the pan. Not all the ingredients. There's certain things you won't put in, but you want to singe the ingredients, not cook them. You just want to singe them, which means burn the outside a little bit, okay? And then once you have everything singed, you mix it all together, and you have olive oil and salt, and you go from there. So let me show you the basic ingredients of what this recipe calls for, okay? Cilantro. Again, not everybody loves cilantro, but cilantro to me is a very important ingredient for salsas, okay? You need to have several cloves of garlic. I won't use this whole head today. I'll use 2 or 3 cloves of this garlic for a single kind of serving. Jalapenos, and these are cayennes, peppers. And again, you got to choose your level of spice. And what I do though is I'm always tasting as I'm making it. So I don't want to overdo it and put too much in, because then you obviously can't remove it. What you want to do is you want to start with some, and if it's not hot enough, you just add and go from there. If it's too hot, you're already kind of too late, so you don't want to mess with that. Okay, so I have 2 types of peppers today. You can use other types of peppers. If you really like hot, you can use habanero, but I'm not a hot guy. I like it a little bit, but not terrible. Okay, I'm just going to use a medium onion. Again, if I was making more, I would use a couple onions. I'm going to go ahead and use a couple, 2 or 3 tomatillos, and these are all from the garden. I'm going to use part of a lime. I'm just going to squeeze. I'm going to cut this lime in half and just squeeze half of a lime. And then I'm going to use 3 tomatoes today for this recipe. And then I'm just going to use some olive oil and some salt. And then you got to have a beer, and the beer has nothing to do with the salsa. It just has to do with what you kind of enjoy a beverage while you're making this wonderful salsa. So I have the basic ingredients ready to go into a hot pan. And again, all these ingredients are from the garden, minus the lime and obviously the cilantro I did not grow this year. I have some extra peppers and an onion and lime and a couple tomatillos, a little bit of garlic if I need them. What I'm gonna do though, again, is I start slow as I mix ingredients and then I add to taste. So I don't wanna make it too salty at first, too oily at first, too much onion, too much garlic. So we'll see how, and too much spice, obviously. So we'll see how this kind of goes as the ingredients come together, and it makes a great taste. So I've got them all ready. Now I just got to heat up a pan. Over here, we're going to turn this stove on. And again, this is a very small kitchen. And in the past, I was able to show this recipe in my much larger remodeled kitchen in Salt Lake City. But I do not have that advantage today. So I'm going to be making this down here, and it's a quaint little kitchen, and we'll just do our best. Hopefully this video comes out okay with limited lighting and space. But what I'm going to do is, this is a gas range, so I'm just going to let this pan heat up. Again, I'm not using any oil in this to start with. The oil is going to go in the blended mix. It's not going to go in the pan. Again, I just want the harder or the bigger, more solid ingredients to be singed, not cooked, just singed. That adds some flavor that you won't find in a lot of salsas. So let me get this pan hot, and then we'll add the ingredients. So the pan is getting nice and hot. I'm not sure how hot it is, but we're going to add the tomatoes. You hear them sizzle a little bit. I'm going to add the 2 tomatillos. And I'm going to add the 1 onion slice in half, 3 cloves of garlic. And I'm just going to try 2 cayennes and 1 red jalapeno. I haven't tasted any of the jalapenos that I've grown in this garden this year, and all based on water and sunlight and everything else. Sometimes they're really, really hot, and sometimes they're not so bad. I did not remove any seeds, so we're just going to kind of go with it. And as I add the peppers in the mix and kind of mix it up, I'm going to taste it, and if I need more, I can add. I'm hoping I don't do too much, because that's kind of the one thing that you get in trouble with as you're cooking, is if you put too much salt or too much spice, you're kind of in trouble unless you make a bigger batch and mix it all together, or mix 2 batches together to try to make a more moderate batch. But again, this is, I consider, the world's best salsa because you make it how you want it to be. The secret to it, though, is, again, you're not cooking things, you're just browning them a little bit, you're singeing them. In this pan, I don't know if it's quite as hot enough at this moment, but I'm just going to, again, just get these ingredients just blackened, and not blackened terribly, just a little bit. And again, by blackened, I mean, that's what I mean. Okay, just blister it a little bit. So we'll let this heat up for a few minutes and get them blackened a little bit. You can do more if you like a more smoky flavor. You can do more time or more burning, but I don't want to cook this stuff. And again, it is a dry pan. It has no oil in it, because oil would cook. It would defeat the purpose of what I'm trying to do. So again, I've blackened these about all I'm going to do. And again, that's about it. I'm not going crazy with them because I don't want to cook them. I'm just going to get a little bit of seasoning on it. They are starting to slough their skins a little bit, which is fine. But that's starting to cook, and I don't want that. So again, that's about all I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the ingredients and just put them on this cutting board so they don't overdo it. And then we will start the next, as I drop a pepper, we'll start the next phase of the process. Now, if I drop stuff at the hobby farm, I don't like the 3-second rule, because there's lots of flies down here. So I'll probably just grab another pepper, cook one up real quick. I'm not going to show you, but I don't eat off the floor here at the hobby farm. So I have all my ingredients over here that are singed, and I'm going to use again the NutriBullet. I've never used a NutriBullet before, but I do not have a blender down here currently. So I thank my mother for giving me this, but it's not going to be, the quantity is going to be a little goofy. I'm going to have to do a couple of these. Now, generally, when you put stuff in a blender, you want to do the more liquidy stuff first. So the first thing I want to do is probably blend the tomatoes with a little bit of oil, and we'll start with that. So let's see how far this goes. I'll just do a couple tomatoes with a little bit of oil. I'm going to have to get another oil because we're about out. And screw the top on, and let's see if I can figure out how to use this thing. Might help if I plugged it in. And I think it clicks in, you just push down, I think. So let's see. Okay, so that's the first step. And again, I'm gonna have to do several different batches here because of the amount of materials I have to blend up. So let me grab the pan and then we will just keep doing this process. So let's take this out of the bullet. And again, I'm just gonna use a way too big a pot for this one batch, but that's fine. We're just gonna do that, and then let's just redo this. We'll put one more tomato in, and we'll do our peppers. I'm gonna go ahead and try all the peppers, we'll see. And go ahead and throw the other ingredients, because it is big enough for that, it looks like. I'm gonna have to blend up this, I'll do the cilantro mostly second, so, and the lime. So let's do this, so let's blend this up. I don't think that's done. It didn't mix right away, so it didn't get that tomato chopped up. So I think it is now, I hope. Better be. Oh, looks like it. Pour that in. Let's put a little bit of oil, which I don't have much here. I gotta get another, I have another oil here. We're gonna take our lime, squeeze that in here. And again, normally I would just do this in one blended mix, but no blender. And then I'm gonna take our cilantro, and I hope this will all fit in here. I'm gonna use all of it. I'm gonna use one whole little bunch of garlic cilantro that you get at the store. Hopefully I have enough liquid here to blend this, so let's see. Don't know. I don't think that's enough liquid, so let's put a little more olive oil in there. Ooh, that's going to be tough because it kind of made a mess. So let's try this. Again, I'm no professional chef, but works pretty good. And what I do make does taste pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and add some salt now. I don't want to overdo it because, you know, again, if you put too much salt, you can't correct that problem easily. So let's see if that's enough oil. Okay, so let's take our pan and let's pour this in here. And again, normally I would have a blender, so I wouldn't have to do this next step. But again, I'm going to try to get as much of this out as I can. And then I'm going to grab a spoon and mix all this together. I'm going to make a mess. And I want to taste it here. As I thought, the peppers are a little spicy. I'm a little saltaholic, so I need a little more salt. And the tomatillos and the limes have kind of taken over the flavor of the salsa a little bit. But it's pretty tasty. Let me try it again here. Yeah, very lemony. The tomatillos and the lime have made it a little bit more lemony than I like, but generally, but it's very tasty. You can taste all the individual ingredients in it. So let me show you a look at how it looks. It's hard to see. I apologize again for the poor lighting, but there we go. There's our finished salsa. That's as hard as it is, or as easy as it is, I should say. And I'm just going to put it up into a bowl, and maybe I'll add a little bit more salt. And I think the spice is just perfect. I don't think I need any more spice. Again, it is a little more lemony than I generally like, so maybe I put a little too much lime. I put a little too much lime in, but it's very tasty. It's very refreshing kind of taste. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it into a dish. Again, this would be coming directly from the blender if I had a blender. So we made enough just to fill this up, which is plenty. I mean, that's, 3 tomatoes makes quite a bit of salsa. Again, I can scrape the bottom a little bit, get a little bit more out, but I won't worry about that right now. So let's take a look and see what we think. Now, it's a little bit watery. If you use different types of tomatoes, it'll have different flavor profile. If you use paste tomatoes, it'll be thicker. But yeah, these are just right off the vine. I just picked them today. So let's take a look and let's see what they taste like. So here we are, and I just have some store-bought chips. I do like to make my own tortilla chips just by buying tortillas and then either corn or flour, and then just putting them in oil and again boiling oil, and you make your own chips and salt them to taste. So again, this whole recipe is, in my opinion, the world's best salsa because you're going to make it yourself. You're going to make it the way you want it to be. Again, I caution you: go slow with ingredients. You can always add, you just can't subtract. Okay, unless you were to mix 2 batches, that's the only way you can kind of make it less of something if by adding more quantity. But then you kind of then you're guessing a lot. So this was this whole recipe is a little bit of a guess, but you just make it how you want. Again, this recipe was a little bit more tangy than I generally do, but let's take a taste with these store-bought chips. Tastes very good. Again, my preference would be a little less tangy, so maybe one less tomatillo, maybe a little less lime. But again, if you like lime, this is perfect. And I'm not gonna complain and throw it away. I'm gonna enjoy this. Well, hope you enjoy this channel, and I could really use your help with the subscription. My channel is growing, but I need to keep on growing to get to where I can get to the point where I can hopefully have a little bit of income so I can spend more time down here at the homestead, producing more content for you guys, and being able to live my life a little more comfortably than again, doing this all for free. So thank you very much, and you guys, I hope you try it because you won't be disappointed, I don't think, in this recipe. Thank you.